Hey lovelies, so for today's video I'm going to be showing you how I made this Two Ghosts inspired mug. Two Ghosts is a song off of Harry Styles' debut solo album, and it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite song on this entire album. And I really wanted to make this because I actually drew this in a drawing on my art Instagram after hearing the album for the first time, and so I was like, this would be actually really cute in real life, so I decided to make this for you today. And if you want to see how I made this absolutely adorable little mug, then let's go ahead and get started. The first and most obvious thing that you're going to need is some glassware. I chose a glass mug because it's what I wanted, but feel free to choose whatever you want for this. You're also going to need some painter's tape or some pre-made stencils for the design. Make sure to grab a marker and pencil as well. And you're going to need an X-Acto knife. I had to use a box cutter because that's all I had, but an X-Acto knife will work better. And you'll also need some glass etching cream. Make sure that you have a coupon because it's going to be a little expensive. And lastly, for safety, please do put on some gloves. And with all that, let's do this. So the first step is to measure the circumference of the base of your glass. I'm going to be measuring from the edge of the handle to the opposite edge of the handle because I have a mug, but you may not need to do this if you have just a regular glass. This will help us to place the design in a proper way, and that way it's also proportional and obviously fits well onto the mug. Depending on your glass, the measurement is obviously going to vary, but mine came out to 9 inches. Now, taking this 9-inch measurement, I'm going to lay it out onto a cutting safe surface. Please make sure that you're cutting on something that is safe and that you're allowed to cut on. Don't just fuck up a really nice table, okay? I'm marking this off using my blade just as a placeholder, and now I'm going to be taking 3 strips of painter's tape in order to create the stencil. The 3 layers are really just to ensure that the stencil is very, very strong for what we are going to be putting it through, but if you do have any pre-made plastic stencils, just make sure that you have 2 ghosts and a heart and you'll be set. And for the heart stencil, you really don't need a whole lot of tape. You can maybe get away with like 1 inch of painter's tape for each layer. Not a big deal. Now I'm just going to be taking a pencil and sketching out the designs. Now a pencil sketch will really help you to think about your design and look at it and manipulate it before you finalize it with marker. With a heart design, it's obviously pretty simple. Just draw a heart. But with the ghost design, it's going to be a little bit more complex, so start by marking the midway point between the 2 ghosts so that way they end up being kind of the same length and shape generally, and then just design some shapes that are pretty flowy and it makes it look like the ghosts are actually swirling in the bottom of the glass, like the song says. Now I'm going to pause here to talk to you about the eyes, because originally I drew the eyes into my stencil design, and what happened was that when I tried to cut it out using my box cutter, it was horrendous and just the worst thing ever. So what I will recommend to you is to just cut out circles out of another 3 layers of painter's tape instead of trying to cut it out if you have a horrible cutter like me. If you have an X-Acto knife, it might not be so bad, so you can definitely give it a try, but I'm just warning you right now, trying to cut it out with anything less than an X-Acto knife, those little eyes will be absolute hell. So don't do it, just cut it out of another thing of tape. And now I'm just finalizing my designs using my marker. And now that your designs are ready, go ahead and cut them out. If you are very young, then please do grab a parent to help you with this part because this is pretty dangerous. You can severely cut yourself if you're not careful. So let's not risk that and have somebody that can handle sharp objects well deal with it. And like I mentioned before, I'm going to be taking another 3 layers of tape and creating a base for the eyes to be cut out of. And here I'm just adjusting the shape of this second ghost just because I wasn't really feeling it. It didn't look right. I don't know. I just changed it. And then I put on the last of the eyes before I went ahead and cleaned off my mug with a little bit of rubbing alcohol so that it's ready for its stencil. This was the first step that my glass etching cream instructed me on, but yours may have different instructions, so just make sure that you read those before you go ahead and start with any kind of cleaning prep. And now it's time to apply the stencil, so just make sure that you take your time with it. This may take you a couple tries, but you'll get it. Just make sure that you have a lot of patience while trying to apply this, so that way it looks exactly the way that you want it to look. And make sure that the stencil is completely flat, even along the edges, so that way there are no air bubbles whatsoever. And don't forget to stick the eyes on, and then you're ready to start etching. First, put on safety gloves because you really don't want this stuff to come in contact with your skin. It will not go well. Now, following the instructions of your etching cream, mine said to just glob this shit on. That seems to be kind of the norm for all of these etching creams, is to just glob it on using some kind of brush. It literally looks disgusting, but what are you gonna do? So using a paintbrush, just a natural bristle brush, just glop that shit on. Be careful to not get it onto any parts of the glass that you don't want it to get on. That kind of happened to me, but it ended up working because it kind of just looks like little floaty extra bits of the ghosts, even though that sounds horrible now that I'm saying that out loud. But anyway, just glob it on and you'll be good after you get a nice thick layer. And then I left mine on for about 15 minutes before I ran it under some running water to get off all of the etching cream. Again, keep on your gloves so that way you don't, hurt yourself, come in contact with that stuff, keep yourself safe. But however your instructions tell you to remove the cream, follow those and just make sure that you do this nice and gentle so you don't mess up anything. Then you can start to peel off the stencil and remove any excess cream that you may see along the edges of the design. And then you're pretty much done unless you accidentally mess up, kinda like I did. If that is the case, then go ahead and apply a little bit more of that cream along those mistakes and let it sit like the same process over again, and then you should be good to go. And now you have an absolutely adorable little mug that you can cherish. And trust me, I'm going to be cherishing mine for literally ever. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you like it and you like the outcome as well. If you happen to, then please do give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see some more videos from me, then please also do hit subscribe. Thank you again so much for watching, and until next time, bye-bye.